shall we talk about virginity?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Okay. Do you want me to just tell my story? Or did you want to?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
If you'd like to share with us, Dan, I'm not going to say no.
I am an open book, mate. I'll, I might be a quiet person to meet, but, you ask me anything, I'll probably tell you the truth. So
that comes back to being Mr. Nice Guy.
Exactly. You got nothing nice to say, don't say it. So, virginity.
Yes.
What an interesting story that was. You imagine being in the moment, hands racing around the body, romantic dinners. Yeah, I got none of that. In fact, the more I think about it, the more cringy my experience was. Because, like I've said in previous podcasts, I've never been a popular kid at school, so getting a girlfriend was like a rarity for me.
I would have never guessed it.
Really? I can't tell if you're taking the piss or not. So I left school, got into college, and before I started college, I'd met up. It's funny actually. It's a bit of a backstory to this. Facebook had been a new thing that's come out, and I was looking at people that I used to go to primary school with because I hadn't seen for 5 or 6 years. And I got chatting to one girl who I used to go out with, funny enough, the one girlfriend I had in primary school. And at the time I was chatting to her on MSN, classic app there.
MSN. Oh, mate.
I know.
Those were the good old days.
They were the best days. If you weren't on MSN, you weren't my friend. Basically. So I got chatting with this girl again and just sort of like catching up. And at the time, one of her friends was round her house. So we exchanged details and turns out we got a lot in common. And we both chatted about movies that we both loved, but neither of us had seen. So we thought, okay, we'll make a day of it. There's a bit
Wait, say that again? Movies you both loved, but the other person hasn't seen.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say, like, you're talking about a movie that you haven't seen, but you love.
Yeah, I know. So it's stuff that so we was like, okay, we need to make a day of this and we can just show each other different films that we love and that. And there was there's a bit of flirting going on, a bit of an attraction. You get the sense of that texting and stuff. So we met up this one day. Oh, I should probably say she had a boyfriend at the time as well, which is kind of funny. They didn't stay together for very long after that, I will add. Given the topic of this podcast, I suppose it makes sense that they wouldn't be together. Anyway, so we had this day together. I went back to her house and we just literally film after film. We must have binged for about, 7 or 8 hours or something, just watching movies.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. It's a lot of movies. I can't recite any of the films, to be honest.
Sounds like a lot of other things too.
I can't really remember what happened, other than because I think I must have been in her room or something, and we was lying on the bed and sort of hold hands a bit, and then they start kissing a little bit, and things got a bit friendly. But that's not when the whole virginity thing got lost that day. So that's sort of the backstory. That's how I met her, and we were sort of like. We weren't properly going out, we weren't a couple, but we were sort of like, I suppose, friends with benefits, but the benefits were quite minor at the time. And then, she was a virgin, I was a virgin, we're going into college, meeting new people, or we were heading into college, I should say. We're like, a few months off that. You wanted to ask a question?
Are you sure she was, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sometimes people just say that,
Okay. Well, if she wasn't, then she wasn't, but as far as I was aware, she was. So yeah, skip forward a few weeks, month, whatever. And we're thinking, meeting new people in college, we don't want to be inexperienced. And at this point, up until that point, we'd done pretty much everything else other than the full hog. So we thought we might as well just get out of our system, just get it done, and then kind of using each other, I suppose, in that respect, as like a bounce board of just ticking off the list. So we'd arranged a day to meet up, and at the time we couldn't go back to her place for whatever reason. We couldn't go back to my place for whatever reason, probably because parents or something, I can't believe this. We'd arranged, mate. Just the whole premise of it just sounds cringeworthy. But, you know,
but it sounds good, mate. It sounds good.
My nan had offered to go back to her place. She would be out for the day, so we'd have her place to ourselves. And she was like, "You won't go through with it, because if you're meeting up just for that purpose, the moment's not right. It's just a bit, you know, it won't happen." So we went to my nan's, and thankfully she wasn't there. And me and this girl were just sort of watching TV, and we knew what we were there for, and it was just awkward. We were watching some shit on the TV that we would never watch and have no interest in, but you're just watching it kind of awkwardly, you know. And we were like, "So let's get down to it then." And we, you know, it's just, oh my God, it was dog shit awful.
But what was so awful about it?
There was no. It wasn't romantic. It was at my nan's place. There was no foreplay. There was no working up to it. It was just kind of like, get your clothes off.
But did you feel good? It
was okay. I felt...
Like a man? Manly?
No, I sort of felt...
Used? Abused?
Like it
unfulfilled?
Like I knew it was going to be good. But yeah, it was just because, like I said, there was no foreplay or anything. It wasn't like, it's a bit too much information for you guys listening, I suppose. So apologies for what you're about to hear. But things weren't exactly lubed ready, you know. It was just a bit on the dry side, and things chafe a little bit. And we weren't using the bed, just in case you're wondering, because it was my nan's bed. It just felt weird. So you're on the floor, you're getting carpet burns, and you know, it's just a bit of an uncomfortable experience. There you go. That's what it was.
Unorthodox.
Yeah, that was the first time. And then to make it worse, the condom that we used split as well. So it just kind of made the whole experience just leave a bit of taste in your mouth, you know? It was all okay. And, you know, I think that's what made it more awkward. It was awkward beforehand. It was awkward during. It was definitely awkward afterwards. And after that, we had to kind of obviously take she took the morning after pill, and that was that. And I didn't see her again. Not because of, I hope it wasn't just because of that, but it just felt mutually right that we'd fulfilled our sides of the bargain. Yeah, and that was it.
Oh, God.
So that was my awkward first time.
You know what? I don't think it's that bad in comparison to, I guess, there's a lot of people out there probably had much worse experiences for the first time. I'm
quite keen, actually. If you're watching on this on YouTube, do leave us a comment in below. Just, I'm really curious as to, feel free to leave as much detail as you want. We won't judge. I mean, yes. I've just spilled my guts out on how I lost my virginity.
Yes, very willingly too.
I will have to say though, that was my first time. I have, you know, much better experiences. Even just the second time, that was
I would hope so.
Mate, my second time, that was another memorable experience.
Hey.
I can't believe it. So my first time, I was a bit dog shit, as I've just touched upon. My second time was a whole adventure. So at the time, was I going out with her? Yeah, I was going out with her. Oh, so this is college now. So we were shooting. I did a media course, a filmmaking course at college. So there was me, my two friends, a guy and a girl, and we were shooting this short film for college. And we needed an actress to play one of the characters, and we'd run out of people in our group. So one of the girlfriend in the group, she knew somebody different college, but who was sort of studying drama and stuff. So we all sort of got together, and I think it was like a horror film or something we were shooting. So we're in these woods in the local community, and it was meant to be like some sort of like Blair Witch kind of thing. So we took like a tent with us and everything. Pitched the tent, started doing some filming and stuff. But the girl who was playing the actress, I really got the hots for, but so did my friend. And the flirting was quite intense, you know, that night. And people cottoned on quite quickly, like me and this girl, you know, the spark we had. And the guy got a bit pissed off with it all. And Yeah, there's a bit of like bitching behind people's backs. So, long story short, everyone left but me and this girl and this tent and this camera gear. No, we didn't shoot a porno, but we did use the tent.
But I bet you wanted to.
I dread to think what we'd have captured. We went inside the tent and we just took all our clothes off and had some fun. That was a much better experience. That was good fun. We were both ready for that one.
Usually is in a tent.
But it's so funny. My first time was like on the floor at my nan's, and then the second time was like in a tent in the woods. Like, where's the classic sort of bedroom scenario? It doesn't happen for a long while. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just got to take what you can get, especially at a young age.
I don't have my own place. Who does at like 16, 17, 18, whatever it is? Just take it where you can.
That's great. And I know everyone's probably like, well, Shay, it's your turn now. But to be honest, I find it very difficult to think back to my first time. Very difficult because I have no idea. But based on a lot of my previous experiences, I was definitely under the influence. And chances are I probably forgot who and where it happened.
So were you on the... how old are you then when that happened? If you can sort of best remember that.
I'll say 16, 17. Roughly about then.
Okay.
Because that's when I really started drinking. Like, it's always going out.
Just out of interest, what's the legal drinking age in Australia? Is it 21 or is it 18?
No, it's not. I actually don't know. It's definitely not 21.
You think about it.
I mean, this is back in New Zealand.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it's just normal. Like, I think I was like third, fourth form. So I was about, I think it was about 14, 15 when I started drinking.
Mate.
Just like actual drinking, like legitimately. Like, I would actually ask my parents because it's better to be upfront about it. My parents were cool. They would rather give me the alcohol so they knew exactly what I was drinking rather than me getting it somewhere else.
Yes.
And because my parents would always have like beers left over, different alcoholic beverages left over from when they would go out every once in a while. So I'll just take a lot of I'd have like this cooler bag and I'll be like, Dad, can I take this one? Yeah. Can I take this one? No, put that back. Can I take this one? Yeah. Just keep filling it up. And every time because a lot of my going out experiences kind of felt like clubbing in a way because each high school had their own hall that they'll hire out every weekend. So you could go to one hall to the next. So if one hall gets closed down, it's the school's hall, we'll all just go to another school hall where everyone else is drinking and partying. So it's kind of, I felt like I've been clubbing for like the longest time. It's probably why I don't go out now because I've
exhausted yourself a bit.
Exhausted myself with those days. But that's how I started like meeting people and that sort of thing. And like blackout drunk. And yeah. I think that was the first time I seen two females as well. It was outside and I was kind of buzzing to see all my schoolmates. It was like one of my first parties as well. And I was like, oh, bro, what's up, bro? Like, because I don't really talk to them. Some people I don't talk to at school, and I just seen them and we're like, well, pissed. And then I turned my head and there was these two girls kissing. And granted, I was very, like, we're all the same age, like 15, 16. And my mind was just blown. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, back then it was all new, wasn't it? You didn't really hear about it.
Yeah, and it was one of my friends too from school, which was even more mind-blowing at the time. We're just like, hey, we're just like, cheers to like all the boys. It was just like watching. It's fucking ridiculous now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, a lot of that experience happened in those days. So I couldn't even tell you the finer details. No idea. Like I was literally going out every weekend.
See, I came to that scene quite late. So because I was always in relationships, I sort of went from one to the other. There wasn't much time.
Because you're that type of guy.
I'm that kind of guy. But yes. I missed out a lot on the clubbing scene, and I came about it sort of in my early 20s, just going out with some friends like locally. People used to go at that point into like main city centres, and it'd be like proper like, proper clubbing stuff. These like small bars with music, shall we say. So it was kind of a smaller club scene. And, I used to really enjoy just having a laugh and just being with my friends and that kind of thing. But it didn't really last very long because people, apart from those sort of guys, were growing up and settling down anyway. And I was like, when I was single, I was at the point when they were in relationships, so they didn't go that often. So I kind of missed out on going out a lot with them. And then when I was in a relationship, they'd either be single or they'd be out in relationships. And people start drifting apart just naturally over time. So I kind of missed out on that. Even like the lads' holiday and, you know, the classic, you know, the picture you can see of people just getting sloshed in the street and, you know, some party place, in, you know, abroad, and I've never done that. I still haven't done that. You're the closest I get to it in the Philippines. And you and I just having a drink.
The thing is, for me, because I've lived that life so much, it's just one trigger for me. Like, give me a Red Horse beer and I'm good to go. Like, let's do it.
A bucket of Red Horse.
A bucket, yes, couple buckets.
Just get a bucket and a couple of buckets, bucket each, and
because that sort of lifestyle was like a huge part of my life at one point. Just constantly drinking, going out, because it's the only time I really got to see all my friends, because that's all a lot of us really did and look forward to in the weekend was drink. We'll meet up at someone's house, drink in the garage, play some drinking games.
So that sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while, it sounds. I mean, I'd love to still have that. I suppose the last night for me was the closest that got, because
The thing is, you could, if you were to come over here, you would be able to do that. Exactly that. Have pre-drinks at the house, get pissed at home, go to one of the clubs. We can go to the club where Chad bounces at. Straight in there, straight to the bar, get some beers.
Yeah, that sounds good, mate.
Good tunes, females everywhere. Good vibes.
Yeah.
We could even vlog it.
Why not? In fact, some things are left unfilmed.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just keep it for yourself anyway. I've got a lot of videos that I've never shared because I'm just that fucking drunk. Some recent too.
Really?
Very recent. Obviously not this year, but...
I was going to say, how long are you dry for now?
Since New Year's. New Year's Day.
Wow. That's great, mate.